That's a hater right there. Haters don't go home. Haters stay right there at the bottom of the mountain while you're climbing up the mountain. It's JBENz, tell a friend. Woo! And if you have been disappointed, discouraged, broken down in this life, then this is the podcast for you. And if you have overcome and made it through and survived this life, then this is also a podcast for you. The Penniless One podcast is going to uncover, deep dive, and analyze all the topics that matter to the people the most. We'll leave no stone unturned, and we're going to put everything on the table. Also, if you have not received your copy of The Penniless Soul of Juliet Rose, then you're truly missing out. This is an extraordinary tale of pain and strife and triumph that you need to read. Also, our other book, A Violin for Your Crow, it's a poetry book that has passages for the heart, for the soul, and for the mind. You can read these passages every day, and they'll help you along your way. We also have the Penniless gear for anybody that likes fashionable clothes. From the t-shirts to the sweatshirts to jogging pants to leggings, all of the above. We have that gear for you. The only difference is our clothes come with an inspirational message so that you not only look good, but you're saying something that means everything in the world we live in today. Last but not least, reach out to us on Facebook and Instagram. And also on YouTube, you can subscribe to our channel there. Thank you for being a part of this revolutionary moment. And now let's jump right into our show. Hello, my friends. It's that time again. Welcome to the Penniless One podcast. My name is Jesse W. Benson, but my friends call me JBENz. And today I want to talk to you about something that I think is very important. Many people put a lot of stock into this, and that is success. And what my intention is today is to get you to the highest level of success possible for you to reach anything that your heart desires. So let's just dive right into it. First, I want to talk about the 3 levels to success, and we're going to talk about the lowest level first. So I've done plenty of sessions like this across the country, and every time I'm in one and I'm in the room with a bunch of people that I'm speaking with, the first thing that I talk to them about, I ask them this question. I say, hey, how many of you have children? So I'm going to ask you the same thing. I want you to think about this. If you have children, you'll be able to relate. And if you don't, you still will be able to relate to what I'm speaking to very shortly. So I asked the room, hey, how many of you have children? And people will raise their hand, and I'll say, so I want you to think about your children, and I want you to tell me when you realized the first moment that your children had any potential. What was the time? How old were they when you realized that they had potential? So I'm going to ask you the same thing, but when I ask you this, I want you to pay attention and stick with me, because it's going to be heavy at first. Now, I don't want to lose anyone, so I'm pre-warning you that I'm going to say some things that may tug at the heartstrings a little bit, but if you stick with me, I'll be able to explain to you exactly what I mean, and then you will understand and truly get something out of what we're speaking about, today. So I asked that room, how many of you have children, and when did you know that your children have potential? And I may say, raise your hands, and I may point to someone and say, hey, sir, you tell me, when did you know that your child had potential? And then, he'll say, I knew my child had potential when he was, 6 years old. And I say, oh yeah, talk about that. Tell me about that. And he may say something like, it was the first time when I, threw him a football, and he, caught it with one hand. And I said, yeah, I know he has some potential. I said, okay, that's great. Anybody else? And I may go to somebody else, and maybe a woman will raise her hand, and I'll say, yes, tell me, when you knew your child had potential. And she may say, I knew my child had potential. They were 3 years old, and they taught themselves how to ride a bike. And the funny thing is this happens every, class that I have or every session that I do. And people tend to get just like this. So first, somebody may say their child had potential at, 6 years old. And then the next person says, oh, my child had potential I knew at 3 years old. And it seems like, each person in the room is trying to one up the other person. So then pretty soon we get to a place where someone is saying they knew their child had potential when they were 1 year old, and somebody else is saying, hey, I knew my child had potential at 5 or 6 months. And I've heard some pretty outlandish things like hey, my child started speaking and said mommy or daddy at 5 months old, and then my child started walking at 7 months. Just start to hear things, and then before you know it, someone says, I knew my child had potential before they were even born. It always gets to that. Somebody is at level zero with their child, and that's when they knew that they had potential. But as it goes on, and then I stop the group, and then I say, I want to give you all some news. And I say, what I want to tell you is, and I'm going to say the same thing to you, but I want you to stick with me. I want to tell you that your children don't really have potential. And then I can just look around the room at some of the parents, and some of them like, who does he think he is saying, I could just read it on their face. Who does he think he is saying that my child don't have any potential? I know some of the tougher ones, I know my child got potential. You ain't talking to me, And so it always makes me laugh, but there is a means to an end that I'm getting to, and I'm going to do the same thing here. So, because that's not really what you mean when you're trying to say that your child has potential. You're not really trying to say that at all. And what I mean by that is, we're talking about the lowest level of success possible. Okay? So I want you to take that down. I want you to think about that. Take that down. The lowest level of success is potential. Okay? And I'll show you what I mean. I'll give you an example. So let's just say, you're at your girlfriend's house, and you called her over, and you all are sitting on the porch, or whoever it is, and you're sitting on the porch with your friend, and you're having fun, and then next door, another child comes out the house, and it's the neighbor's, child, and you turn to your friend and say, hey, that's that bad little boy I was telling you about, little Timmy, okay? We'll use Timmy in this example, and, no disrespect if your child name is Timmy, but so you turn to your friend and say, yeah, that's the bad little boy I was talking about. Look at him, and you all look over and watch Timmy, and Timmy's going down the steps, but he's jumping down the steps. He's leaping one step over the next, and to get to the bottom of the stairs on the porch, and you turn to you say, I told you he's bad. Look at him starting already, and then Timmy goes over and puts his hands in the mud, let's say, and then he puts his hands in the mud, and then he walks right up to his parents' car is parked right in the front, and then he puts his two muddy hands on that car, and then you look to your friend and say, I told you look how bad he is, and bad. I wish he would put his dirty hands on on my car. And your friend is laughing, and you all are laughing at Timmy, but then in the next instance, your daughter comes out, same age as Timmy. Timmy's probably about 4 or 5 years old, and then your daughter is about 4 or 5, and she comes out the house, and she doesn't jump down the steps, but she slides down the rail, let's say, and then when she goes, and she doesn't put her hands in the mud to put handprints on your car, but once she gets in the mud, and then she makes a mud pie or something, and she brings it back to you with a flower in it and tries to give it to you, and then you say, oh, look how sweet she is, and your friend's like, oh, she's so cute, and so forth and so on, and they're really just both the same. One's doing, Timmy's doing his thing one way, and then your child's doing their thing another way, and And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because when we think about success, and I'm talking about this first level, which is the lowest level, potential. You think about that, and the question that I had asked was, when did you realize that your child had potential? And again, normally when I do this in a session, the group and the people are trying to, one up each other on when they found out their child had potential, or when they knew, or when they recognized their child had potential. Mine was at 6, and mine was at 4, and mine was at 2, and then I recognized my child at, 1 year old. But when you think about it, and let's change the question around. Let's just flip it around in the sense that, what we were talking about Timmy, and Timmy's so bad, but then what you saw in your own child was not as bad, and they're both doing the same thing. They both jumped in the mud, and they both got a little bit dirty, and they both was trying to be, an artist in their own way. When you think about the word potential, let's flip this thing around and say, instead of asking, when did you know your child had potential? I'll ask you a different question, and I'll say, who doesn't have potential? Just think about that. Who doesn't have potential? So when you say, when you say my child has potential, or when you say yourself, when you say you have potential, or when you say she has potential, when you say he has potential, I want you to think about that and think about who doesn't have that? Who doesn't have potential? In fact, you'd be hard up to find someone who doesn't have potential. In fact, everyone has potential. You're born with potential. So if you put yourself in the potential bucket, you're basically saying you're just like everyone else. Hey, the world is full of people who have potential. People are born with potential. Every child has potential. Every person, every human has potential. So you're not really trying to put yourself or your children or anyone, you're not trying to put yourself in that bucket, because that is the lowest bucket, and it's the lowest level, the first level to being successful is potential. Just because you have potential doesn't make you special. It doesn't mean that you're someone that's outside of the norm, because everyone pretty much has potential. So be very, very careful when you use that word. Words do have power, they mean things, and energy is important, and words draw in energy. So be careful of sometimes the words that we use to describe, who we are or what we're trying to represent, because potential is the lowest level of success. So now we'll get to the next level of success, and I really want you to pay attention to this, because the second level, which is the mid-level, it's not the top level, it's the mid-level. It's better than the first level, which is potential, and it's the separation from the first level to the second, which is ambition. And when you think about that word, that's the second level of success is ambition. And so think about what ambition means, and here's the difference between someone with ambition and someone with potential. See, everybody that's in the potential bucket don't have that next level piece, which is ambition. So you can be in the ambition category and you certainly have potential, but you can be in the potential category and not have any ambition. And ambition is what separates, those two groups. People with ambition, I want you to think about this. People with ambition, think of ambition as a flame. Let's say like a flame for like a candle. The flame of a candle. That's what ambition is. It's a small flame. And everybody doesn't have that, but in a small flame, you can at least light up a dark room. So that's what ambition is. It's the small flame that can light up, the potential bucket. It separates you. You can see it now. In that dark room of potential, you can see someone with ambition. They have a little bit of flame. And let's talk about that flame and how that works on this second level. So many of you will have potential, or all of you have potential, if you will, But there's then this separation where there's a few of you who have this thing that we call ambition. Okay? And what ambition is, it's that light, it's that little spark that can start something, really big. And you'll have some ambition to do something, and whatever that thing is that you want to accomplish and that you want to do. The second level of success is ambition. And so when you think about this small flame, people can easily blow out their own ambition. And here are the things that come against that flame. And when you have ambition, once you have it, adversity is going to come towards you. So I want you to remember that. But once you start showing signs of having ambition, that's exactly when the adversity is going to come your direction. So when you're in the potential bucket, the lowest bucket of success, the lowest level of success being potential, when you're in that place, there is no adversity happening to you at all. Okay, so when you're in the lowest level of success, the potential level, there is nothing coming towards you in terms of adversity. Now, you may have controversy, which is different, but adversity doesn't really find you when you're just in the potential bucket. However, as soon as you have a little bit of ambition, that's when adversity is coming your way. And so some of us don't understand that, and that'll be the first reason that we're not truly successful, because as soon as we have some ambition and we don't realize that adversity comes with that, and when adversity comes, we're not ready for it, we start to shy away from it. It starts to hurt us. Some of us get our feelings hurt when the adversity comes, or some of us, you say, oh, I didn't know it was gonna, be like that. And I'm reminded of, like, say for example, somebody that goes to the gym and they want to work out and want to get big and strong, whatever that is, right? And so sometimes, it's a good idea. And you take somebody, I remember bringing someone to the gym for the first time, and they had potential, just like anybody else. Hey, we're going to go to this gym and we're going to work out, and, and then we're going to, get all cut up and look strong and what have you. And then the first time that we get in there, and the person has a little bit of ambition and pushed up some weights. We picked up some dumbbells and tried to press them, and it wasn't that easy to do. And as soon as it wasn't easy to do, and person starts sweating and breathing hard, and so next thing this person said, I didn't know it was gonna be all like this. And like, well, what did you think it was gonna be like? Well, I didn't know it was gonna hurt this bad, or I didn't know I was gonna be this tired, and we sweating and everything. And so that's what adversity is. And as soon as you have a little bit of ambition, adversity's coming. And if you're not prepared for that, it can shock you, and it'll throw you right back to the level of success that's the lowest, which is right back into the potential bucket. So you can get knocked off of your ambition platform, if you will, just from being afraid of the adversity, or not wanting to go up against the adversity, or as soon as a hurdle comes, you don't want to leap over the hurdle. It'll put you right back to a place of potential. And so you'll be right back in the bucket with everybody else, and you won't find yourself really being too successful. And so you think of the ambition as the flame, and then think of the adversity like the wind or the rain. Think of adversity like that. So you have to protect your flame, because the wind will blow it out, and that's what adversity is. It's the wind is coming in. If you don't protect your flame, it'll blow it out. Or the rain is coming in. If you don't protect your flame, the rain and the water will wash it out. So you have to be protective of the little flame that you have, or that ambition that you have. You have to protect that. And let me tell you some of the things that come along with adversity that can, blow your candle of ambition, that light. It can blow it out. Oftentimes it'll be your friends or your own family that will blow your ambition flame out. And when I speak of this, some people, are saddened by this, man, but they also know that it's true. A lot of times, your friends or your so-called friends or your family or even your so-called family, if you will be the adversity that's ready to blow out your ambition. One of the ways that you'll find out real fast who your friends are or who your true family is, you'll find out when there's some ambition that you have. And let me tell you the one thing that'll just lock it all up for you and to show you the truth. If you have some ambition and you want to do something, ask your friends or family to support you. And the first thing that'll happen is you'll say, I got this great idea. I'm going to do this, that, and the third. And then your friend will be like, yeah, you should do this, that, and the third. Absolutely. You say, is it a good idea? And they're like, yeah, it's a good idea. And you're like, great. So I'm going to ask you to help support me, and I need you to invest in me and invest in my idea. And as soon as you ask them for some money to invest in your idea, all of the excitement just goes out of them like popping a balloon. Just all that eagerness and excitement about what you were doing goes right out the window. You ask your friends and family like that, goes just poof, gone. Because money, I say often that the true indicator of truth is the absence of money. So a lot of times people will not want to support you if you ask them to invest in you or to, in prime example of that would be like if you have a brand or you come up with some, let's say you open up a clothing line and you have this ambition to do really well with your clothing line. Your friends and family, instead of, purchasing, the clothing, will actually expect you to give them, the products for free. So that's not even investing in your dream and idea. They'll actually be sometimes they'll be insulted that you asked them, to go and pay for the product. Right? And that just kind of shows you a lot of times where, people will be, but your closest friends and your real family, they will invest in you or they will support you and they will be excited about what you're about to endeavor, and they'll be fully excited. And when you're up, they're up, and when you're down, they'll try to bring you back up. And that's when you're with the right crew. That's the right circle that you're supposed to have. And that's another session for another podcast. But I'm going to stay on this success one here and just talk about how this ambition goes. So let's say, for example, you want to climb a mountain. And what'll happen to you, you'll find that once you have some ambition, what comes along with the ambition is the haters. Haters come right along with the ambition. So if you're not ready for the haters, you're going to go back into the lowest level, which is the potential bucket. So you have to be ready and prepared for the hate. The haters will be there. So you say, hey, I'm going to climb this mountain. And a hater is going to come along and say, and a lot of times it's going to be your friends or your family, they're going to say, don't do it. Don't try to climb that mountain. And you're going to say, you know what, yeah, I'm going to climb this mountain and you can climb it with me. And they're going to say, no, I'm not going to climb with you. But if a person's not going to climb the mountain with you, that's fine, because you're still going to climb it. If you want to climb it, you're still going to do that. So climb the mountain. And here's the thing about ambition, and here's the thing about adversity or haters. If it's somebody that's not really interested and they don't want to climb the mountain with you, what'll happen is you'll start climbing the mountain and they'll just go home. But that's not how it works. See, you'll start climbing the mountain, but they don't go home. And that's how you know that's a true hater. That's a hater right there. Haters don't go home. Haters stay right there at the bottom of the mountain while you're climbing up the mountain. And what are they doing? They're waiting. A hater is waiting while you climb the mountain. They're just waiting there. They're more interested, you would think they have better things to do than to just dog on your idea, but they don't. And they're also in the potential bucket. And so they don't have anything else to do. So what they're going to do, instead of going home, they're going to sit there at that base of the mountain while you're trying to climb, and they're waiting for you to slip. They're waiting for you to, your foot to, dash against the stone, and they're waiting for you to fall right back down. And so while you're climbing it up, they're not really giving you no support. They're not really rooting for you while you're climbing up that mountain. But they certainly will be there if you slip. And if your foot slip, or you try to grab onto the next ledge and your hand slips, they'll be like, and that's what a hater do. I told you was going to, you better watch it. You almost fell right there. Okay? And then if you slip and fall and you come down a little bit, they'll be right there, especially if you fall all the way down to the bottom. If you fall all the way down to the bottom, they'll be right at the base. They won't give you a Band-Aid. But what they'll do is they'll be here to be like, I told you not to climb that mountain. I told you you was going to fall. I told you was going to hurt yourself. I told you that you couldn't do it. And if you're not strong enough, that adversity right there will blow out your ambition. It'll blow out the little flame that you got in that candle. It'll blow it right out. And you'll find yourself gathering yourself together, picking yourself back up off that ground, and you'll find yourself holding hands, walking home with the hater, and going back home to that low-level potential bucket where you were. And you'll be right. Now let me tell you about the potential bucket anyway. That lowest level of success, there's a lot of people down there. There's a lot of people at the lowest level, and they're partying and they're having a good old time down there. And no one's caring about anything that's happening, because they all have potential. They're all in the potential bucket, and that's where they're going to stay if they don't have this next thing, which is called ambition. So while you and all the haters are in the potential bucket, no one's upset, no one's looking, no one's watching, no one's waiting for anything, and no one's hating. If you notice, haters don't hate on each other in the potential bucket. In the lowest level of success, no one's hating on anybody. Everybody's just all fine in that bucket. Everybody's getting along in the lowest level. They're okay. They're satisfied. There's no hatred going on. They're best friends and buddies and pals. Until you start having some ambition. And as soon as you have some ambition, everybody wakes up. Why? It's that light. That lowest level is a bucket of darkness, and that next level of ambition is a light. As soon as people start seeing that light, they start looking. They start looking around, and the first thing they do is, what you trying to do? And you say, hey, I got this great idea. Oh, you do? Yeah, I got this great idea. I'm gonna do this. Oh, and they start giving you that half, sarcastic half congratulations or support. They start giving you that, and yeah, you're gonna do it, and then turn right around while you're trying to do it. Turn right around and say, they ain't gonna do nothing. See, that's that ambition level and that type of adversity that comes with it. And especially today, because today we're in this digital, social media age. And what that does is it brings on more haters. And energy is so important. Energy is so important to have. And you got to be very careful when you're at the ambition level of success. You have to be very careful what you say out your mouth, because energy is captivating, and you can pull in energy, and you can pull in the wrong energy. So you got to be careful what type of energy you're drawing to yourself. Be careful of that energy that you're going to have circling around you, because you can be drawn in the wrong energy. And I mean, people do it all the time, and I try to counsel people on it regularly, but watch what you say, especially in this new age. So you think about it, if you're on there's just so many platforms right now for social media, like Facebook or Instagram or snappy chats and whatever else, talking and whatever else is out there. You're in that social media platform and you have a little bit of ambition, but you got to be careful, because some people are talking so much, and they're talking, but they're not backing it up with the actions that need to take place to make sure that you're drawing in the right type of energy, so you'll say certain things, and you're trying to pump yourself up about it. But you may post like, you get on social media and you post doing big things, and you get like 2 likes for that. And so then because nobody liked it, nobody didn't click on it and push like all the time, you said doing big things and you got 3 likes, and then your heart's broken because you got 3 likes. So then you say, oh, maybe I didn't say it loud enough, maybe I didn't put enough oomph into it. So you take a picture of yourself and then standing in front of some whatever it is, and then you say, wait, let me post it again, doing big things, and then you get 7 likes instead of 3. And so because the energy that you're bringing in, you have to be careful. You posting stuff on social media and you're not ready yet to do that could just destroy your ambition. It could destroy that second level of success because you done posted something and you done brought in the wrong energy. Because think about it, whatever you post can be seen by hundreds, thousands, or millions of people. And when they're looking at it, they're just scrolling, and you don't even know them. You don't even know. Some of y'all have a lot of friends and followers, and you don't even know them. And so you post something, doing big things, and somebody look at it and say, no, they ain't, and just keep going. And then you doing big things, and then somebody look at it like, they ain't doing nothing. They ain't doing nothing. They ain't doing nothing. And so you done have 5,000 people look at it and say they ain't doing nothing. That's the energy. That's the energy that you're drawing to yourself. And if that ambition and where you're at, if you're not ready for that type of adversity, and you're not confident in who you are and where you're trying to get to, that wind right there, blow that small little ambition flame out. And then it'll be out, and you'll be right back into the bucket of the lowest level, which is potential. So you have to be very careful with what you're doing, and you have to make sure you protect your flame. To the highest level of success. There's always levels to this. Let's get to the highest level, and you'll see this highest level with certain people that's very successful. Like, I love boxing, so let's talk about boxing. And there's always levels to this, and there's people that box and get into boxing and they become a professional, and they don't make it to the level of success that they may have wanted to. And I'm not going to throw any names out there of boxers that I think had a lot of potential, and then some other boxers who had a little bit more than potential and got to an ambitious state. I'm not going to throw them under the bus like that, but I will talk about some of these greats that reached the highest level of success. I'll use like a boxer like Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather is the highest level of success in the sport of boxing, and which means that he had potential, had more than potential, had some ambition, had more than ambition, and got to this third level of success, the highest level and the most important level, the level where most will not get to, is execution. And I want you to remember that. The 3 levels, the lowest level, potential. The second level, that's higher than potential, it separates the people from potential, is ambition. That's level 2. It'll separate. You have some ambition to get you out of that potential level is ambition. But the thing that separates people with ambition and separates the third level and the highest level of success, where they're not in the ambitious stage, is called execution. It's when you execute. And Floyd Mayweather is a perfect example of execution. His training and for him to have the right amount of stamina and how he trains regularly is an execution state. Okay? Training when he is a boxer, training when he's retired from boxing. It's just the level, the third level, the highest level is called execution. And a lot of people just will not execute what they actually want. A lot of people will not execute on the desires that they really have. And so sooner or later, you have to get out of the ambitious stage and get to an execution stage. You have to do something about your ambition. You have to do something about it. And that's the highest level. And you'll know when you reach the highest level, because you won't be worried about the haters. You won't be worried about the people that's in the potential bucket. And you will not allow any adversity to blow out your flame. That's when you're on the execution level. You're protecting your flame. And more than protecting it is at level 2. But when you start executing, that means you're feeding the flame. You're feeding the fire. So I'm reminded of a show that's on television. And on this show or program, they go to the wilderness. They go to the wilderness and they're going to meet up. First off, they're naked. So they're going to meet up in the wilderness naked. And they're going to they're going to be out there maybe 20, 30, 40 days. They're going to be out in the wilderness with no clothes. And they're not going to have any food. They're not going to have any shelter. And they're going to get dropped off like in the Amazon. And they're going to have like maybe 1 or 2 items. And they bring these items with them. And the funny thing is, to get on the show, they send in the videotape. And they send a videotape of themselves. And a lot of times these men and women, they're sending in videotapes where they're in their backyard. And they're saying that they're, experts, nature experts, camping experts, and wilderness experts. And they send in their videotape in hopes of like being selected to be on this show. And what makes me laugh about the program, and when I watch it, is when you're in your backyard or you're in some safe place, and you're in the wilderness, and some people are doing it in their backyard camping. There's a certain amount of security there, because at any moment, if it get too tough for you, or you're just over it, you just go back in the house. You just walk out of your backyard and go home, or you can just come out of your neighborhood park and you can just get in the car and go home. Well, when they get on this show and they're dropped off way off somewhere in the Amazon, they're not going to be able to just get in their car and go home, and then they're also naked out there. And so they're going to have to fend for themselves. And so what they'll do is, and you all have probably seen, some of you have probably seen the show, but what they'll do is they'll give them one item, and sometimes a person will pick a machete, which is smart to bring. So one of them bring a machete, and the partner that they meet out there, it's 2 of them, the partner that they meet out there bring something. Now, they don't let you have up-to-date things. You can't have matches or a lighter, but what they will let you bring is a flint starter. So they take the flint starter and you can start a fire, and that's the only 2 things you're gonna really have. Like maybe somebody brings a machete, somebody brings a flint starter, and I don't hardly watch those episodes when it's like that, because I know the people are gonna do okay. But the ones I watch, like a hater, like myself, like a hater, the ones I watch is the ones where one partner brings a machete, which is cool, and then, or maybe they don't. Maybe they bring like a net. One person brings a net, and the other person brings this bowstring, and those are the ones that are the best ones to watch. For me, they're the most entertaining ones to watch. And somebody brings like a machete or a net, even they even bring a machete, which is, to me, is just insane. But they're gonna go in the wilderness for 30 days with a net, and they meet the other person who they don't even know, and that person brings the bowstring to start a fire. And that's where you have the string and the stick, and you're trying to start the fire like this. And so those are the ones I watch. And check my point. So they get out there like that, and the first thing that they have to do is they have to, try to make a fire. Now, you're in the wilderness and you don't have anything to eat, and you don't have any shelter. One of the first things you're going to need is a fire, because you're going to need a fire to. They're going to need that fire to, boil their water, because they're going to have to find some water. They got to make sure that the water is actually drinkable. So the only way you can do that is by boiling it. So you're going to need fire. So they need the fire for that. They also need the fire because in these places, when the sun goes down and it gets evening time, it can get really, really cold. And so if you're naked and you don't have any clothes, you're going to want to have a fire so you keep yourself warm. Okay. The other thing is, fire is dangerous, and pretty much when you're in the wilderness, all animals know that fire's no good. So fire can also keep you safe. There's many reasons why you're going to want to build a fire. So that's the first thing that mostly everyone try to do. They try to build a fire, okay? And so here they are in the wilderness, and the person has brought a bowstring. And if they're not really good at it, and sometimes they drop them off in these places where, it has rained even. And so it's not going to be easy to really make a fire, because the wood or whatever they're trying to make a fire with is wet maybe, or damp. And so here a person is, the flint starter is pretty good at starting a fire. But when you get out in the wilderness with a bowstring, you had better be like Conan or Tarzan or something. You had better be good to get out there with a bowstring if you're gonna make a fire. And the most episodes that I watch, these guys are no barbarians, or they're no Tarzans. They are just not good at it. And so here they are taking that bowstring and trying so hard and trying in hours, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3, 4 hours, and then they just give up because they just can't even get a fire started. So here they are. It becomes nighttime, and it's so cold, and they're huddled up together, and they have the cameras on, but it's late, it's dark, they can't sleep because they're freezing, and then bugs are biting them. Like the bugs are so, mosquitoes and ants or whatever it is just biting them all over their body. They can't get any rest. And on top of that, there's other animals walking around. Like, what's that? What's that sound? What's that? Because they don't know what's coming. They're just trying to stay safe, and they're freezing. And a lot of times they just tap out. Sometimes they don't even make it one day out there in that wilderness, and they go home. And the main reason is because they didn't get to start a fire. Okay? But when you get the right ones out there with that flint rock and they get that fire started, it changed everything. So where one group would have got bitten up, now they start a fire. And when you start that fire, they start adding, wood to it and putting brush and sticks and everything into that fire. It goes from a small fire, and it ends up becoming a big bonfire. And that fire is so big and it's so warm. Now they can boil water. Now they can hunt and catch some fish, or catch an animal, skin it, and they can actually cook it on the fire, so they can cook their food. They can get some clean water. They can turn water and sterilize the water. They can drink some water and not get sick. And then at nighttime, they're not getting bit up by all the bugs. The fire is like, making the bugs not come as much as what it would be if there was no fire out there. And then also the larger animals are afraid of the bonfire. And pretty much all animals are afraid to get burnt by fire. So the fire makes all the difference. And the reason why I'm saying that to you is that's the third level of execution. That third level of success is executing, is putting the wood on the fire. You have the ambition, which is a candle flame, but what you need to do is feed the fire. And how you feed that fire is by executing on what your desire is. You have to execute. So you have to do something about your ambition. If you want to get in shape, you want to work out and if you want to lose some weight, then you have to do something about it by executing. You have to put wood on the fire. Every time you put wood on the fire, that's execution. Every time you do something about your ambition, that's execution, right? When you force yourself to do something. Often, I may, and I give you an example. If I get a membership at the gym, I try to get the membership. I don't try to do pay it, month per month. I try to get the whole membership. If it costs me $300 or $500 to get the membership at the gym, I will do that. I will pay it because then I don't want to waste money. So then I'm pretty much forcing myself to have to, go to the gym or have to do it because I spent all the money already. And I'm not gonna let the money go to waste. So what I'm trying to do is execute. I'm putting wood on the fire. If you want to get stronger, you do some push-ups. If you want to lose the weight, if you truly want to do it, then you change up your diet. You start executing. You change up how you eat. You change up. You move more. You drink more water, and you're executing on the desire that you actually have. And that is the level that separates great people that's successful from people that's good. And that's the level that separates, execution is the level that separates great from, mediocre. It's that one word, execution, that separates all of the people that you think about. If you think about the word success and then you start throwing names out there, what you're going to tie to those names is their ability to execute, whether it be an athlete, whether it be an actor that one of your favorite actors, or maybe some person in business, whatever it is. You're going to be able to tie execution to their name, because that is what separates them from the other levels. So what I want you to do is, the very next time you need anything, you want anything, your heart desires to have it, I want you to remember the 3 levels of success. I don't want you to be in that bottom level, the lowest level, which is potential. But you do need to have some ambition. Get yourself to that second level and have some ambition. But if you want to truly be successful, get to the 3rd, the highest level of success, which is execution. My name is Jesse W. Benson, the Penniless One, and I'm signing off.